Did Obama, question one for the show, use the media, and did the media play right into the trap to do what? To set up members of the Trump orbit and take them down. Let me make the case for you here. I want to hat tip Molly Hemingway. I'll get to that article in a little while, but this is something we've been talking about before this article even came out. A little, let's go down the memory hole here and pull this one out of the well. You remember this Washington Post January 23rd article? Remember the date? Look at the article. Again, the Obama administration, and now at January 3rd, now the Trump administration, but these Obama acolytes using the press to frame people and set them up. Look at the date on this. Washington Post by two Spygate, look at my damn Bongino thing, by two Spygate media insiders, Ellen Nakashima and Greg Miller, who, whether they were useful idiots or active participants in this thing, are setting up Mike Flynn here. Read the headline of this article, ladies and gentlemen. What's the date? January 23rd, 2017. That'll matter in a minute. Washington Post, FBI reviewed Flynn's calls with the Russian ambassador but found nothing illicit. Weird, isn't it? Because the next day, January 24th, the FBI interviews Mike Flynn at the White House, where he's Trump's national security advisor, the next day about calls with the Russian ambassador, Kislyak, where they claim they found something illicit. So are you asking yourself now, don't cheat for those of the listeners who listened to the show last week, you already know this, but we need to backtrack a little bit to set up just how stupid or malicious the media were in this entire setup. Why do you think they would throw out an article the day before they interview Mike Flynn? They leaked this. It's clear the FBI leaked it to the Washington Post. The headline, it's in the headline. FBI found nothing illicit. How would the Washington Post know that? Because somebody leaked it. But why would they leak to the Washington Post that we found nothing wrong with Flynn's phone call the day before? The answer is terribly obvious. They did it to put Flynn at ease. So when the FBI shows up the next day, Mike Flynn thinks he did nothing wrong, has no reason to lawyer up and no reason to be concerned about these FBI agents. Ladies and gentlemen, it's clear as day. Now, hat tip to 279, the best source on the planet for Spygate stuff. He sent me an email last week. I didn't have time to get to it because we were loaded up last week, but I'm going to cover it today because Molly Hemingway's piece is about this too. It's up in the show notes, and I'll get to that later, about how the media were actively complicit in the framing of these people. That media outlet, the Washington Post, was used as propaganda. The FBI did claim they found something illicit. That's why they're interviewing Flynn the next day. They're only using the Washington Post as a bat signal to put Flynn at ease. But 279 pointed me out to another piece that we discussed a long time ago. We're going to bring up again. This interesting tactic of using the media to put people in the Trump orbit at ease. So when the FBI hits them or starts to spy on them, they're just openly talking. They have nothing to worry about. Does that make sense? I hope everybody gets what I'm saying here because it's important. Put everybody at ease, make them think they did nothing wrong so that they become Teddy Ruxpin-like chatterboxes, start talking, and then you nail them with the false 1001 lying to the FBI charge. Just a disgusting, filthy setup, but typical of the Obama-era FBI management, which was quite grotesque. Here's another piece where they did this same thing. Look at this piece in the New York Times. Again, check out the date. New York Times, October 31st of 2016. Remember, Obama's still in office right now. Investigating Donald Trump, the FBI sees no clear link to Russia. Eric Lichtblau and Stephen Lee Myers. Stephen Lee. So just to be clear, just like in the Washington Post, where the FBI leaks to the Washington Post, we reviewed Flynn's call with the Russians. We didn't find anything wrong with it. Although the next day they go and interview him claiming they found something wrong with it. Put him at ease. Fascinating that on October 31st, someone leaks to the New York Times. Throw that up again. That, hey, don't you worry, Daddy-O. Trump team, bat signal. Armacost, bat signal goes out. Bat signal's out there. We don't see anything wrong. Investigating Donald Trump, FBI sees no clear link to Russia. Clearly an FBI leak, because how would the New York Times get it otherwise? Now, knowing what you now know, because you're all exponentially more brilliant than the media lunatics that were useful idiots in this trap or active players, we don't know. They're either really stupid or really malicious co-conspirators. We don't know yet, but there's no option C, make no mistake. I say it with a smile. Why would they put that article out? October 31st. What happened 10 days before October 31st, 2016? So what happened on October 21st of 2016? October 21st, 2016. Yes, that's right. It's the FISA warrant. It's the stamped date of the FISA warrant where the FBI begins to spy on the Trump campaign through their conduit, Carter Page, who was a former foreign policy advisor, who is the subject of a FISA warrant stamped October 21st, 2016. Some of you may be picking up what I'm putting down. Some of you may not. So don't worry. I'll pick it up and put it down again. So now October 21st, 2016, they are officially spying on Carter Page. They have a FISA warrant. It's been approved. They're listening to his phone calls. They're retroactively getting his emails with the Trump team. They're hoovering up all kinds of communications he may be having with people. They're watching his email transmissions, his texts. And what do you think happens 10 days later? Nothing. What do you mean, Dan? Nothing happens. Carter Page isn't colluding with the Russians. Isn't this obvious? The answer is nothing happens. They go back, they get his texts, his emails, his phone calls, retroactively and proactively forward, and they can't find a damn thing. They get a big zero donut. So someone in the FBI now gets the idea, hey, I've got an idea. Let's leak to the New York Times that, don't worry, this Russia thing is over. We didn't find anything. You getting it? You scooping it up now? So then Carter Page, Joe, are you tracking me? You picking this up?
Yes, sir.
Now Carter Page, because they need him to get something and get up on the phone, get up on the blower and start talking. Remember, Carter Page doesn't know he's under surveillance. They're hoping he gets up on the phone with his Russian friend. He doesn't have, by the way, his Russian contacts he doesn't have. They're hoping he gets up on the phone and goes, whew, man, read that article in the Times. Don't worry, Nikolai. Don't worry, Nikolai Volkov. We're all good. That's his Russian guy, Nikolai Volkov from the old WWE. That's Carter Page's contact. He watched wrestling once. He saw Nikolai Volkov. He saw carrying in the Soviet Union's old flag. That's Carter Page. He doesn't have any real Russian contacts. So the FBI thinks, hey, if we leak this, maybe we'll get him up on the blower again. And of course, the media, these total numbnuts, numbskulls, again, either too stupid to figure out they're being played by the FBI or too malicious to care where they're active co-conspirators in the plot. There's no option C. Plays right along and prints this article out. Hey, we're not looking into the Trump team. Don't you worry. You know, it'd be real cool if you started talking about that too, Carter.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud and follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.